What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC channel. We're going to preview the 2024 schedule for the Vanderbilt Commodores. Before we get to that schedule, let's look back at 2023. Here was the schedule from last season for Vanderbilt, and you see Hawaii, Alabama, Wake Forest, and UNLV in the non-conference. Coming off the year they had, you thought, maybe they could win 3 of those 4, maybe even beat Wake Forest, maybe even go 4-0 in those non-conference games, but they did not beat UNLV, and of course they didn't win any games in the SEC. They had tough. It wasn't a horrible schedule, I guess, compared to other teams in the SEC. Again, a pretty easy non-conference schedule. They got to play Auburn out of the West, and then of course played Ole Miss, who wound up being really good. But it's always going to be tough for Vanderbilt. They're always, they're going to be at the bottom of the SEC. So every team they play in the conference, pretty much, at least most years, is going to be better than them. So this is the 2024 schedule as you break it down. First, look at the non-conference. They play Virginia Tech at home. Could be a winnable game. Probably not. You got Alcorn State at Georgia State and Ball State. So if you can win those 3 non-conference games, not counting the Virginia Tech game, that could get them to 3 wins, which would be better than last season. You look at the home schedule of the 3 non-conference games, and then Alabama, Texas, South Carolina, and Tennessee. You look at those and think, maybe could they steal a conference win? Maybe South Carolina at home. That would be the one for sure. And then you look at the road schedule. There's Georgia State again, then at Missouri, at Kentucky, at Auburn, at LSU. Of course, going to be very, very tough for this Vanderbilt team to go on the road and win an SEC game. The Georgia State game might even be tough, again, given the fact they lost on the road to UNLV last season. So they start with Virginia Tech on August 31st. That'll be a home game. And then on the 7th, it's Alcorn State. Then on the road to face Georgia State on September 14th. Then on back-to-back road games. So go on the road to play Missouri on the 21st. Then they get their first bye week. You get 2 weeks to prepare for Alabama at home. Maybe the Crimson Tide drop off more than we think, and maybe that game's interesting. Probably not, but you got that one on October 5th. Then they go on the road to play Kentucky on the 12th. Then Ball State at home on the 19th, and Texas at home on October 26th. Then they will play on the road at Auburn on November 2nd. South Carolina at home on the 9th. Again, if there's an SEC win that they might could get, I think it's probably that South Carolina game. They get a bye week after that game before playing on the road at LSU, and then they close things out with Tennessee at home. So again, you look at the schedule. It's not, if you compare this schedule, if you gave this schedule to Georgia, you would say that's not a very tough schedule. That's not too bad. But for Vanderbilt, again, the schedule is always going to be tough for them. And again, overall, this is not a horrible schedule. They do have to play Texas, but they don't play Georgia. They don't play Ole Miss this year, which is interesting. Of course, that kind of became a cross-division rivalry. It's going to be a different era in the SEC, that's for sure. But again, a schedule that's not horrible, but for Vanderbilt, really any SEC schedule is going to be horrible. So again, it'll be very tough for them in 2024.